tonight's town hall to gather feedback from the community on the Sheriff Department's response to the World Series celebration and the department use of Fort Apache logo. This will help the commission understand the community's perspective and experience and incorporate your feedback in however the commission decides to move forward. I also would like for us to set an intention that we can come together as a community peacefully and with love and with respect, and make sure everybody is heard. Okay. We're going to have Tracy go over the code of conduct.
Thank you. Please see our code of conduct that is in the left corner of the room. We ask that you remain respectful and refrain from profane, personal, threatening, derogatory, demeaning, or abusive statements. Please be respectful of the views, expressions by the audience, staff, and panelists, and do not disrupt the orderly conduct of this town hall. A person engaging in conduct that disrupts the meeting is subject to being muted or removed, or we may have to adjourn the town hall. I will now turn to the commission staff member, Robert Flores, who will make the code of conduct announcement in Spanish.
Buenas tardes. Por favor, consulte nuestro código de conducta. Le pedimos que sea respetuoso y abstenga de hacer comentarios profanos, personales, degradantes o abusivas. Por favor, sea respetuoso de las opiniones de la audiencia, los oradores, el personal y no interrumpir. Una persona que tenga una conducta que interrumpa está sujeta a ser expulsada de la reunión.
Thank you, Robert. And now Tracy will discuss the public comments.
Thank you. If you wish to speak in person at today's meeting, please submit a public comment card at the table where we are that has the sign that says public comment. If you wish to speak via WebEx, please raise your hand in WebEx or press *3 on your phone. Each person who signs up for public comment will have 3-minute comment. I will now turn to staff member Robert Flores, who will make the public comment announcement in Spanish.
Le damos la bienvenida a esta reunión a miembros de la comunidad que prefieren hacer sus comentarios en español. Si desea hablar en persona, complete una tarjeta en la mesa que dice comentarios públicos. Si desea hablar por WebEx, levante la mano en WebEx o presione *3 en su teléfono. Cada persona que se registre para recibir comentarios públicos tendrá 3 minutos para hablar. Es posible que antes de comenzar sus comentarios y le diremos cómo proceder.
Okay. Thank you. And can everyone hear me okay? Yes. Okay, good. Thank you. I'm sorry? Oh, okay. So before we get started, I will provide you a brief history of the Civilian Oversight Commission. Then I will introduce our panelists, acknowledge them. Following the remarks, we will provide the LASD's response to the World Service celebrations and provide an overview of the historical use of the Fort Apache logo. Then we will open the floor to public comment for the audience to provide their feedback. We will be listening and taking notes, so let's get started. Okay, for those of you that are unfamiliar with the Sheriff Civilian Oversight Commission, on November 1st, 2016, the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors appointed 9 commissioners to serve on the commission and approved the hiring of an executive director and staff. 5 members are nominated from each supervisory district, and 4 additional members are large community nominees. All commissioners are appointed by the Board of Supervisors. Commissioners' diverse backgrounds include community and faith leaders, a retired Sheriff Department lieutenant, a former federal judge, and attorneys with a broad range of experiences. They are Commission Chair Robert C. Bonner, Co-Vice Chair Dr. Luis S. Garcia, Co-Vice Chairs Hans Johnson, Arthur Callaway, Irma Cooper, Higgins, James Harris, Jamal Hicks, and Sean Kennedy. I mentioned in the previous slide the establishment of the commission in 2016. In March 2020, Measure R passed, which gave the commission independent subpoena power and the ability to use staff for investigations. Since November of 2023, the Civilian Oversight Commission has been under the leadership of Executive Director Charmaine Mosley, who is a panelist today. In September 2024, the commission adopted proposed revisions to Chapter 3.79 of the County Code, because after 9 years of existence and with the passage of Measure R in 2020, the commission still does not have subpoena power, the authority to investigate complaints or access LASD's confidential information like investigations and complaints or body-worn camera videos. The commission strongly believes that these proposed revisions must be adopted by the supervisors in order for Los Angeles County to have effective civilian oversight of the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. The commission provides ongoing review, analysis, and oversight of the Sheriff's Department's policies, practices, and procedures. They build bridges between the department and the public and recommend solutions to advise the board, the Sheriff's Department, and the public. Striving to perform its duties in a thorough, impartial, and transparent manner, the commission demonstrates credibility and enhances trust and respect. The commission welcomes community involvement and provides for opportunities for robust public engagement, which is what we're doing right now. In December of 2023, the commission adopted its first strategic plan. This plan includes advocating for policy updates that encourage fair and unbiased policing and ensure the safety of all parties, to strengthen County Ordinance Chapter 3.79, Sheriff's Civilian Oversight Commission, and to build relationships with community members by hosting effective community engagement events, attending public meetings, and receiving community feedback. The commission's vision is to facilitate transparency and accountability by reviewing, analyzing, and overseeing the department's policies, practices, and procedures. The commission's purpose is to also build bridges and give the community a stronger voice and recommend solutions to the board, the Sheriff's Department, and the public. The strategic plan can be found on the commission's website. Okay. With that, I will introduce our panelists. I'm just going to introduce them briefly. I'd like to acknowledge Commissioner Hans Johnson. And I would also like to acknowledge Vice Chair Dr. Luis S. Garcia. And also, I would like to acknowledge the Executive Director of the LA County Sheriff's Civilian Oversight Commission, Ms. Charmaine Mosley. And okay, so next we will have Carlos Montes, who is a community organizer from East Los Angeles. He's going to have some brief remarks. Go ahead, Carlos. Oh no, that's for sure. Yeah.
All right, they changed the agenda a little bit. So, yeah, my name's Carlos Montes, and obviously I grew up in East LA, Garfield grad over here. Did a little coaching right here, Obregon Park. But my experience growing up in LA has always been one of activism, but also a police brutality, police abuse, right? I remember, you know, when I read the statistics, I was riding my bike and getting stopped by the sheriffs, you know, and I was probably 13, 14, right? And I didn't think nothing about it until later on when I read the statistics that the sheriffs are known for stopping young men, Latinos primarily, when they're bike riding. That's a statistic you could all look up, right? But yeah, you know, I'm just a little kid from Juanitos, Chuco, El Paso, the border town, right? Came to LA at 6 years old, got thrown into this racist nightmare. I did want to point out that, you know, when I became conscious and started being active, I noticed that the sheriffs were always in there trying to stop us. You know, the famous East LA walkouts, Garfield High School, who shows up? The sheriffs, right? Now, we had walkouts last week. I'm glad they didn't show up. But historically, the sheriffs had always been used to abuse us, kill us, and try to stop us from our activism, right? I mentioned the East LA walkouts, right? But growing up in East LA, what do? We love to cruise. I grew up cruising Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Whittier Boulevard, listening to our great music, not only Little Willie G and the Midnighters, but all the soul music, etc. And constant harassing by the sheriffs, right? I had, stopping us, going through our car, now they make us sit on the floor. Back then they just had us up against the wall. I had a friend who came from Montebello Catholic High School, Cantwell, who moved into East LA, right? And he knew about it. We were driving in his car, we get stopped. I don't know what the reason was, we didn't get a ticket. Anyway, the sheriff stopped going through the whole car, and he looks at him, and he looks at me, hey, they can't do that. And I go, don't say nothing, don't say anything, right? No, he goes, no, hey, you can't do that, he tells the sheriff, right? One Chicano and one white guy, and that was back in 66, 67. You know what the sheriff told him, the Chicano sheriff told him? He said, you can't, he said, I can take this billy club, and I can shove it up your ass and bring it out your mouth. Literally. No, that's a fact. My poor guy, he was in shock. And I told you don't say anything. They can do whatever the hell they want. We have no rights, we have no due process, right? And the first protest I went to when I joined the Brown Berets with the East LA Sheriff's Station, where supposedly a young man hung himself. The autopsy revealed that he'd been beaten to death. This was in the winter of '67. The Brown Berets, young angry Chicano men and women, protested the killing of that young man. And the sheriffs came out to harass us. As soon as we came out as Brown Berets fighting for Chicano rights, we started getting harassed, arrested, etc., right? I give you the example of the walkouts, right? But the other big example, of course, was the Chicano moratorium. And I'll get more into that later on. But I just wanted to point out that police killings by the sheriffs, harassment, brutality is historic in East LA. It goes way back, right? And how many of you raise your hand if you've ever been in the backseat of a police car or know someone? If you don't want to admit it, say someone else, right? The gangs to resist and fight back, right? This was the Brown Berets fighting for Chicano liberation. I want to point out that in 1979, the sheriffs attempted to shut down Whittier Boulevard, remember Eddie? And my friend Roberto Rodriguez, a reporter, was out there taking photos. He was beaten up, they cracked his skull, and he was arrested. He wrote a book about the incident in Whittier Boulevard. He sued and he won, and he won the case. But I just want to point out that before I forget that I'm a member of Centro CSO, a community service organization, and we're the only ones that fight against police brutality in LA. At East LA, at least. In the last couple of years, I think we've done maybe a dozen protests at the East LA Sheriff's Station. Because, the Anthony Vargas case, Paul Rea case, Edward Rodriguez case, the cases go on and on and on, right? So, the thing with, so what I describe this as the racist oppression of our people as Chicanos and blacks that occurred by the East LA Sheriff's Station. So it's an historic one. All of them are a tragedy, right? I want to point out the killing of Carlos Oliva, a 23-year-old skateboarder in City Terrace who was shot in the back by Deputy Anthony Furlano, September 10, 2013. Furlano had 7 prior shootings. I point that out because of this black and Chicanos. It's not just a civil rights issue, a police brutality issue. It's an outrageous human rights violation of our people. So let me wrap it up there. I could go on and on. We have the case of Smokey Jimenez, David Rodal Jr., Paul Rea, etc. But let me wrap it up. I'm going to talk a little bit later about the moratorium and Fort Apache. Thank you very much. And thank you all for being here.
For sharing. Thank you, Mr. Montez. Let's give him another hand. On October 20th, 2024, the Los Angeles Dodgers secured a place in the World Series. And on October 30th, 2024, the Dodgers won the World Series. On both nights, residents took to the streets to celebrate. Several community members have made claims that LASD used tear gas and incendiary devices by Los Angeles County Sheriff Department deputies during the celebrations. There were also claims that amongst those celebrating in the crowd were minors and elderly persons. Community members accused deputies of being too aggressive in their response and have demanded accountability from the department. In response to the claims made about October 20th, LASD officials issued a statement on October 23rd. In anticipation of the large crowds, deputies had closed several intersections and hundreds of vehicles began filling Whittier Boulevard. Several vehicles began driving erratically by doing burnouts and donuts while surrounded by pedestrians. Due to public safety concerns, multiple dispersal orders per Penal Code 409 were given by both the LASD Aero Unit and ground personnel. As skirmish lines were established by LASD and CHP personnel to disperse the crowd, individuals in the crowd proceeded to throw rocks, throw water bottles, and fireworks at deputies and CHP officers. And again, that's the statement from LASD officials. And now we're going to play an excerpt from a video that a community member submitted from October 30th. We would like to warn you that some of the footage could be triggering. If you would like to step out, the video is 3 minutes long. Excuse me, can you pause the video really quick? I think if you hit the unmute, I think they'll be able to hear it. I think there's an unmute. It's not? Okay. I thought it said unmute. I just wanted to make sure that.
There's no audio.
Oh, there's no audio. Okay, all right, thank you. Thank you very much. that was, okay. So just to give you some context about the video, it was during a celebration, celebrating the World Series. And the police, the statement from the LA County Sheriff is that they were trying to do crowd control, but a video was captured that depicted another perspective that tear gas going in. We're still under investigation, but we did want to show you the video that was captured. Is it going to be with audio?
We have a few technical difficulties. We're working on trying to get audio available.
Okay. Well, we can move on with the agenda then.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, just you know, the video was a little bit intense. We will take a deep breath together, kind of come back into the room. Okay. So now we're going to switch to the use of the Fort Apache logo, and then open it up for public comment. The Fort Apache logo has been used by the East LA Sheriff Station since the 1970s. In 2016, former Sheriff Jim McDonald, East LA Sheriff Station, a seal conveyed to members of the public. Countless members of the community have expressed that they find the Fort Apache logo offensive and culturally insensitive. In 2019, Sheriff Alex Villanueva reinstated the use of the logo, but removed the term Fort Apache. Today, several community members have reported seeing the use of the new logo by some East LA deputies. Now we will hear from Mr. Montes again. He's going to provide a brief history on the Sheriff's Department's response to public assemblies and celebrations in East LA.
Thank you very much, and muchas gracias por todos que están aquí, ¿verdad? Thank you very much for coming out. This is important in the heart of our community here in East LA. The Fort Apache logo at the East LA Sheriff Station has a complex and controversial history rooted in racism and the rise of the Chicano power movement in the 70s. The Chicano moratorium, August 29, 1970, over 30,000 Chicanos marched down Witter Boulevard to Laguna Park to protest the high casualty rate of Chicanos in Vietnam, but many of us in solidarity with the struggle of the Vietnamese people against imperialism. At the peaceful rally, the LAPD, the LA Sheriff Department, and many believe in coordination with FBI, Hoover, and Nixon, committed a violent and unprovoked attack against the peaceful rally with tear gas, swinging batons. You can Google Chicano moratorium, you can see it all on YouTube, okay? 3 were killed, including our famous Justice Ruben Salazar from Ciudad Juarez, shot in the head with a tear gas missile projectile through the head that's normally used for barricaded situations, not a canister. I don't want to ever hear you say it was a tear gas canister. It was okay? But the community fought back. And there's photos of that. The young men with their bare arms fought back, and many sheriffs did go down bleeding, and there's photos of that, and they were taken to the hospital. The community fought back and rose up in what I call a rebellion, not a riot. Following the rebellion, Sheriff Peaches reportedly instructed the deputies to maintain a low profile. In response, deputies created a logo which features a riot helmet resting on a boot with the words Fort Apache East LA, and siempre una patada en los pantalones, which translates to always a kick in the pants, and the word low profile. The Fort Apache name is believed to come from the reference of the 1948 John Wayne cowboy western film that shows a remote U.S. outpost surrounded by hostile forces. But we know They were not hostile. They were our brothers and sisters, the Apaches, right? This has been interpreted by many in the community as the sheriff's department seeing themselves as an occupying force. The logo has been highly controversial, with many in our community finding it offensive and culturally insensitive. We say that the logo symbolizes us versus them mentality and reinforces the perception that the sheriff station is an occupying force. The phrase "siempre una patada en los pantalones" is also seen as aggressive and disrespectful. And we have the rise of the deputy gangs, and we have an expert that can talk about that. But there have been many times where the logo was banned by former Sheriff McDonald, and then of course, El Bandito Villanueva brought it back. This has caused much friction within the Sheriff Department and the community that it's supposed to serve. Some deputies continue to view the logo as something of a pride or camaraderie, right? The community sees that as a symbol of oppression. I wonder if any of the sheriffs are wearing that logo today. I know we've seen many of the sheriffs at different coffee events wearing that logo. In conclusion, the Fort Apache logo is a highly charged symbol that reflects the complex and often strained relationship between the Sheriff Department and the community. We demand that the Fort Apache logo be banned now. Are you with me on that? Ban the logo. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Montes. Okay, now.
At the start, you should prosecute the cops too, right?
Yeah, we have to switch
Yeah.
up.
The logo he's referring to
Okay, and Tracy will
is
discuss
worn
the
by
code of conduct.
a lot of deputies here in East LA.
Thank you. Now
And they
we
also
would
have
like
stickers.
to open the floor to public comments. Public comment must relate to the town hall subject, is limited to commission's jurisdiction, and does not include the right to engage in dialogue. If you have not completed a comment card, please do so now. I will now turn it over to Robert, who will make this comment in Spanish.
Nos gustaría conocer sus experiencias con el Departamento del Sheriff durante las celebraciones del Serie Mundial y el uso del logotipo Fort Apache. También nos gustaría conocer su visión y posibles soluciones para el futuro del departamento, no solo durante celebraciones o grandes reuniones públicas, sino también en interacciones diarias con entes que reflejen la historia y la cultura de la comunidad en el este de Los Ángeles. Gracias.
Before we open it up to general public comments, Carlos has an announcement.
Yes, thank you very much for the time here. I'd like to introduce the public comment extended. Gabriel, would you like public comment regarding your video, what you saw? You were there with some of the other Central CSO members. Use that mic there. Yeah, go right ahead. Thank you.
Get started. Awesome. My name is Gabriel Quiroz Jr. I attended the Spirited Lodger celebrations on October 24, 2024 on Olympic and Atlantic. I saw Rasta waving flags, dancing, and having a good time. It was a peaceful celebration. Around 9 p.m., CHP started to block off Atlantic just south of Olympic. Soon after, dozens of East Los Angeles Sheriff deputies arrived dressed in riot gear, and they blocked off Atlantic just north of Olympic. I saw deputies wearing Fort Apache pins on their right front pocket, something only East Los Angeles Sheriff Department deputies wear. The deputies formed a line and started advancing south on Atlantic towards Olympic. They were pointing guns at restaurant goers and telling them to get back inside when they came out to see what was going on with the large police presence. Raza was trying to get to their cars and walk north on Atlantic and was forced to go south by East Los Angeles Sheriff deputies. No dispersal order was ever given. Raza was confused and didn't know which way to leave as the police had surrounded them on all sides on Olympic and Atlantic. A deputy from ELASD then shot tear gas into the crowd of women and children. I suspect there was a deputy wearing a gas mask who shot the tear gas. It was shot directly at our feet while we were on the sidewalk of Olympic and Atlantic. A large cloud of smoke erupted at our feet. I knew it was tear gas because I immediately felt the effects. My eyes got watery and my throat became irritated. And I started to cough uncontrollably. We ran, and when we left, we saw children in the parking lot of Employee Local coughing and crying from the tear gas. They weren't over 13 years old. There was never a dispersal order given, and there was never a warning that they were going to use tear gas. On 10/30/24, I attended the World Series celebrations on Whittier Boulevard near the East LA Commerce Center. I saw firsthand SRT units from LASD shoot projectiles indiscriminately into the crowds of families. This time, they did give a dispersal order, but not a proper one. They failed to give Raza time and a way to safely leave. Many who were trying to leave were turned away, only to be told to go back into the line of fire as LASD shot hundreds of projectiles, including gas and incendiary flashbangs that started multiple fires. There were Chicanos who were just eating tacos and shopping at local stores like 7-Eleven who were leaving and were shot with pepper balls in the parking lot. I saw people shot in the back as they tried to go east on Whittier away from the LASD skirmish line. I saw LASD pointing rifles with live ammunition at people who were just looking at what was going on from their house windows. I saw SRT units throw incendiary grenades at Chicanos in the front yard of their own homes, just observing the large police presence. I saw cars trying to drive away from the skirmish line, only to be lit up with pepper balls and incendiary grenades. I saw an incendiary grenade thrown into a Taco Bell parking lot that then caught a car on fire. I saw multiple fires started that were caused by individuals. I was called a homophobic slur by them, once pointing out the Fort Apache logo on their shirts. They might have removed the words Fort Apache from the station logo, but it's still the same logo which was created by the Little Red Devils, one of the first deputy gangs out of the East Los Angeles Sheriff's Department. The logo was made after deputies from East LA beat and killed Raza at the Chicano Moratorium in 1970. The logo says low profile, which mocks the directive given by then Sheriff Pitches to keep a low profile at the moratorium. Instead, the deputies, who many were white and members of the deputy gang Little Red Devils, instigated and beat Chicanos, resulting in 3 fatalities, including Ruben Salazar. We're here to demand a thorough and independent investigation, that the Fort Apache logo be banned, and the charges be dropped on Dodger fans. In many recent cases, you'll see viral videos of sheriff deputies from ELAC doing things like pointing guns at people and putting them out their car for minor traffic violations. And all those times they're wearing Fort Apache pins. You know, a lot of the times you see sheriffs in East LA acting a fool, they're wearing Fort Apache pins. You know, that we're able to point at that. And it's a larger issue. It's more than a pin. It's about the systematic oppression Chicanos go through in East LA. And we're part of Center CSO. We're going to be fighting against that. Community control of police now. Community control of ELASD now. And ban Fort Apache. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your remarks.
Thank you. Our next public comment will come from Aracelia Covarrubias. And if we can have the next person take the line, Kenneth Ramirez. Stand in line, please.
Hello, everyone. My name is Arcelia Covarrubias, and I'm here to support Centro CSO because they have always been there with me throughout my process. My story, sadly, you guys showed a video of the sheriff's station. Well, that was my son Adrian Rios' last stop. 28-year-old Hispanic, young, handsome, athletic. Sadly, that was his last stop. A lot of stuff went on, and I used to believe in the system, honestly. Like, I mean, if he ever got locked up, I used to look at it like, okay, he has a place to sleep. They're gonna feed him there. No. He was at the worst place. He was in the hands of murderers. My son's blood is at that station from the bandidos. Today I went to see him to the cemetery, take him flowers and water his face. They're supposed to do it, but I go and I still water. What I'm trying to get at is, it's kind of a long story, but I'm gonna try to be as brief as possible. When my son passed away, he actually died in the cell. They found him unresponsive. They never came to my home to do the decent thing and knock on my door and to notify next of kin, which is what I believe is supposed to be done. That never happened. I was looking on the portal, because I hadn't heard from my son for a few days. I thought, gee, where's my son? So I look up at the LA County portal, and I see that East Los Angeles Sheriff's picked him up. So I call, and the sheriff that answered, his reply to me was, "Who notified you?" I was like, what? At this point, I had no idea my son had already passed away, that he was deceased. I didn't find all this out. I'm trying to be, like I said, brief, but this was a process. I was just coming home from work. I'm a caregiver down in Skid Row Housing. I take care of patients down there for the past 5.5 years, going on 6. And so I was coming back and I looked it up on the portal, find out he's locked up, so I called to ask about him. And that's the response I got from the sheriff. So at the last call I got, they said, "You have to come in." And they asked me if I was his biological mother, and I said, "Yes." Why? I didn't understand. So I go, they take me into a back room, a large table. There was a female detective, a male detective, and I'm kind of running through it fast because they had me wait in the lobby for a good while before this happened. They take me to the back and start interrogating me. Instead of telling me what had already occurred, they're interrogating me, asking me all kinds of questions about my son. And I was just like, gee, well, what did he do? I thought, if he put hands on someone, I'm sure it was to protect himself, because he was not gang affiliated, so I thought, that's not like him. I didn't know. They just asked me all kinds of questions. The last questions was, did he have your name tatted right here?
Thank you, Ms.
I said
Covarrubias.
yes. So,
Our next public comment. Thank you, Ms. Covarrubias. Our next public comment is Kenneth Ramirez, and if we could have Mike Romero join the line, please.
I really don't know how to follow that, in terms of, not having enough time to tell her story. This is a tragedy. Her son's dead. I'm here, my agenda, I was born and raised in East LA, born in East LA Hospital, went to Camp, went to Our Lady of Lourdes. My family's been here since the 40s, where I currently live in unincorporated East LA. We've been there since 1942. My grandma bought that house during the war, World War II, while my grandfather was out in France. I'm currently there right now. My agenda today is to figure out what the plan is for the commission. Is it just oversight in terms of looking at issues, or are you trying to solve problems? So this is an article that I took up to printed out today about the same issue, about the logo, written in 2019. Right here, 6 years later, about the same thing. Are we going to be here in another 5 years, 6 years, talking about the same thing? And my guess is we won't. Unless the commission and the county is interested in really working and putting resources into this community for this issue. Now, there is money out there. I looked at the board docket, LA County board docket, maybe a few months ago. There was an item there to have 3 signs, "Welcome to East LA," that some contractor is going to get paid for. Probably a buddy of the county supervisor. Guess how much that contract was for, or is going to be for? I'm not sure if it passed. $900,000 to $1.2 million for 3 signs. Now imagine what we can do with the talent here, the leadership here, the young people who are here, which I'm glad to see, with $900,000, with $1 million, what we can do in terms of breaking this cycle and having voices and having a place for her to say something and grieve. You just cut her off. I understand there's a time limit, but that's the problem. There's always a time limit. So what I want from the commission and my agenda, there's plenty of people here who are educated, have degrees, know how to figure out problems, and even if they don't have degrees, they know what's going on in their community, this community, unincorporated East LA. I want a commitment that you will share and bring resources to the table so that we can have the time, that she has a place to grieve and tell her story, and then come to some solutions and be able to work with the sheriffs and other people around here so that we can bring solutions, not have to wait another 5 years and be here in the same spot. That's my agenda right now. Can I get a public commitment from you that you will bring resources into unincorporated East LA and bring resources that we can meet, we can learn, we can study, we can talk to one another, and we can come up with our own plan because we are capable. Can I get a commitment right now?
Thank you, Mr. Ramirez.
Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you're committed to bringing resources.
Our next public comment is from Mike Romero.
My name is Mike Romero. I'm an East LA resident, born and raised here. I came back to East LA, moved out to the local city next door. I came back about 5 years ago, 6 years ago, because I wanted to make East LA better because I grew up here. I know I went through East LA, all the heartaches in the 90s, like this gentleman was saying. I also got some mistreatment from the sheriff department back then, which now that as a grown-up, I know it was totally illegal what they did to me. In regards to the Dodger celebration, I myself went out there to go see it for myself. I wanted to see what's the action. I do gotta give the sheriff credit when they blocked off the streets on Wooded Boulevard between Atlantic and I believe Arizona. They did a great job. They shut it down in sections, controlled the crowd. But after that, I left. I think the incident here mostly happened further east. I didn't know about the tear gas and all that stuff until just recently. I don't think that was okay, especially because somebody mentioned there was nobody as mentioned to disperse. And I've been to situations like that before, and a lot of the deputies, they don't know how to communicate. One says to the crowd to do one thing, the other one says to do something else to the other crowd. So there's no leadership in that situation, and it's a very intense situation that we need leaders to lead the crowd, lead their deputies, and all that stuff, right? In regards to the sign, and let me step back a little bit. Yes, we're known here in East LA to celebrate, right? And I like to also hold East LA residents accountable too. I mean, let's stop destroying our city. I mean, let's celebrate. There was a lot of graffiti, a lot of destroying property. There's a lot of business. Well, there's very few businesses in our corridor now that we're killing our community. Let's stop doing that. The graffiti alone, to remove graffiti in East LA, costs us, East taxpayers, $60,000 a month. $60,000, it's gonna go up because I talked to the guy with the graffiti contract with the county. $60,000, no more graffiti, guys. Let's hold ourselves accountable too, not just blame it on everybody else. Whatever's right is right, we gotta do it right. In regards to the logo, I don't remember who bought the East LA Sheriff's that everybody could put their own personalized logo. That building is owned by the people. I didn't sign off on it. We don't want no patchwork, we don't want no logos. I don't have a patch or logo in my office job saying, I'm part of this crew and you're not. No more of that. If you're gonna wanna put your logo, you come and talk to the community that you serve first to get our approval. No more. And we don't want no more East LA resident deputies here. They're too immune to what's happening here. We need people with fresh, new ideas
Thank you,
that
Mr.
see better results here.
Thank you. Our next public comment is going to come from online. We have Benny Martinez. Benny, you have been unmuted.
Hello.
Yes, we hear you.
Okay. Yes. I'm Benya. My name is Benny. I go by Benya. I work with Centro CSO, and when I found this organization and got to work with a police accountability committee, I immediately had like a very strong emotional reaction. Deputies who receive, tens of thousands of dollars in training for a specific role, when they're in a situation when someone was asking for help and they execute the person as opposed to executing the policy, which is to de-escalate things. Now, I learned a lot about de-escalation, and I faced a lot of issues where I had to really check my gut. As a former Marine, I served for 9 years and had 2 tours, one in Afghanistan. And being confronted with that is, it was a decision I had to make out of necessity. I couldn't afford school, so I put myself in that position. And when I was there wasn't any moment for me to be selfish because I had other people around me that I cared about, people that I worked and trained with, but also having like humanity, like looking at the people who I was supposed to be suspicious of, but seeing them as people first, really allowed me to be in that position in general. But where I felt the most fear was around the folks in my Marine unit who were institutionalized. Because they did things like wear patches. They did things like form gangs and cliques. And they would speak freely. They would say the most racist things. They wouldn't complain about any of those things. And this is while we're in Afghanistan. Some people will know and other people will find out later. And I don't think that the community should continue to find out that East LA Sheriff's Department is full of gangs, people who are completely callous and are willing to kill instead of maintaining peace and maybe just losing a bunch of those salaries so that you can support school programs, so that there are no more graffiti, because the graffiti isn't the issue, it's that there are no after-school programs.
Thank you, Mr. Martinez. Our next public comment will come from online. Christian Triqueros, you are now unmuted. We hear you.
Okay, good evening, members of the Sheriff's Oversight Committee. And fellow committee members, my name is Christian Figueros, and I stand before you as a representative of the historical recognized Chicano community, American-born citizens who have lived through the long-lasting injustices stemming from the deep wounds of the past. The Fort Apache insignia is more than just a logo. It is a symbol of occupation, violence, and systematic entrapment that has shaped the struggles of Chicanos and indigenous people in East Los Angeles for generations. After the 1970 Chicano moratorium, when our people protested an unjust war only to be met with brutal force, this emblem was adopted as a mark of defiance, not in service of public safety, but to reinforce it as criminalized generations of American-born Chicanos. It has led to broken families, overpriced communities, and a cycle of poverty and disenfranchisement that remains unaddressed. The state of California has formally acknowledged the genocide committed against Mexicans and Native Americans following the occupation of U.S. militias. Governor Newsom himself recognized these historical injustices, yet we continue to see the remnants in their very institutions that came to serve us. The Fort Apache insignia stands us as a reminder of the dark history, one that perpetuates a false narrative that our community is an enemy to be controlled, rather than a people to serve with dignity and respect. If the Sheriff's Department truly seeks trust, reform, and healing, it must begin by rejecting symbols that glorify oppression. Law enforcement must be held accountable for representing the values of justice, equity, and reconciliation, not a legacy of militarized force. Keeping its logo is not just a choice, it is a declaration that injustices of the past are acceptable in the present. I found the Commission to take decisive action, permanently remove the Fort Apache insignia from the department, implement community-led oversight to address past and present abuses, prioritize restorative justice programs to heal the generations of harm inflicted on our people. The time for symbolic change is over. We need real accountability. Removing this logo is just one step in the long road to justice, but it is necessary. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next public comment will come from the audience. Luz Legaspi. And if we can have Sophia Quinones join the line.
Hi, good evening. My name is Luz Legaspi. I'm born and raised in East LA, born in East LA Doctors Hospital. I just want to say that we really need to own our behaviors on our celebrations. There's a lot of families that go out there and they have clean fun, but then it gets crazy. It gets out of control. Things thrown at police officers, fireworks, bottles. I mean, come on. We are proud Latinos. We shouldn't be behaving that way. I've had nothing but positive interaction with a lot of these deputies. A lot of these deputies are young deputies that don't even have a clue about the banditos and gangs and the Fort Apache. And they, you know, every month I meet at the station with the captains, with deputies. I've never noticed any of that on their person. And yes, you guys may think I'm one-sided. I'm not. We all need to own what we do, our behaviors, our environment. You know, we are our kids' first role models. We need to show our kids what it is to be proud Latinos, Latinas, you know, and go out and celebrate, but not start behaving as, so I'm speechless. I love our Dodgers and our Lakers and all our sports teams, but I dread our championship because I live up the street from all those celebrations. And it's sad. It's sad what we're teaching our kids on how to disrespect our neighborhoods. What we do. That's it. I'm sorry, that's all I have to say. I didn't need my 3 minutes. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you. Sophia Quinones. And if we can have Antoinetta Garcia join the line.
Con el permiso de mis antepasados, yo pido la palabra. First on the logo, we have to understand that there's a social historical context of what happened in East LA. And those of us that grew up very young, what it means when you're in fear of your police department. As a woman, as a young girl, I was taught, ask for a police officer, a female one, because women were scared of being digitally penetrated. We marched from Belvedere Junior High to Civil Brand to say education, not incarceration, because we had COs dispensing medication that was not even approved by the FDA. Psychotropic drugs that they were giving females before they even went to court. This drug had women committing suicide. So I didn't go here, I went to the US Attorney. Civil Brown was closed down. So understand what that logo means when you're dealing with oppression and violence. So I say no to logos, you have a badge, that's good enough. Now, regarding what happened on Whittier Boulevard, we had a special meeting with the US Justice Department here prior to all this happening, and I brought this issue up. And the US Justice Department tried to suppress it. We broke up into groups, and each group had to come back. I specifically talked about this, not only with the US Justice Department, not only with the Sheriff's Department, but with the representatives of Hilda Solis. I said, what are we gonna do to come together to deal with not only the Dodgers, but all our championships? Around the world, people are allowed to celebrate. Why is it that we haven't coordinated and have a working relationship with our teams so that we can do a proper, celebration? I showed up that day, and what we asked for, and we had an extensive dialogue, because I know what has happened when they stop it and they break it, and people get pissed in the way they do it, and then it splits off and they started rioting in the city. We don't want that. But what I did is I went to the governor's office and I spoke with the inspector general, and I said, you know what, we don't need the sheriff's department leading this anymore. We need the highway patrol. That started happening. And then COVID hit, and also what happened is that we had a fiasco in the East LA Highway Patrol. They had to fire everyone because they were overbilling. So we don't want the sheriff's department taking care of traffic. We need the highway patrol doing it. So that's something I'm going to continue to push for. Now, When it comes to how they responded, it was draconian when you see military vehicles and the use of tear gas. That is unacceptable, 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 that is excessive. Light synchronized on Whittier Boulevard, so I think that would help.
Thank you. Councilmember Garcia, and we have the person as a good citizen, the person who filled out their form as good citizen. Please join the line.
Do I go next? Hi, everyone. My name is Antonieta Garcia. I'm an East LA resident. My name is Antonieta Garcia. I'm an East LA resident and been living in East LA for plenty of years, born and raised. And I'm also Garfield graduate, class of 96. So I'm here because I'm here to talk about the logo. I don't really appreciate having the Apache logo at our community. For so many years, our community, our East LA community has been oppressed. And we're not trying to go there back again. We don't want our children to be growing up like this. I don't want my daughters growing up like that. We need this logo to be banned and be removed from the community and never to appear again. Also about what happened in the East LA Dodgers World Series, during that time, it was my daughter's birthday. That day, we celebrated in our home, but also we watched the game. We were so excited that the Dodgers had won. My daughter is a Dodger fanatic. She loves baseball. We love baseball. We went out there to celebrate peacefully in a healthy way. But when we saw the East LA sheriffs right there already putting the tear gas, I had to literally 28 weeks, and she was born with a chronic lung disease. I had to literally take her to the hospital just because the East LA sheriffs didn't even ask the community or tell the community that they were gonna throw tear gas and also rubber bullets. Is this how we oppress, and that this is how the way we're supposed to live in our community? I don't think so. We're East LA residents. We pay rent, we pay taxes. They work for us. There is no reason for them to be throwing tear gas like if we're criminals, because our community are not criminals, and our community should not be criminalized. So I ask for the East LA sheriffs, they own an apology, they need to be held accountable. I am tired of this, and they need to respect us. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Garcia. We'll have good citizen next. And if we have Tomasa Tapia join the line, please.
How you doing? I go by South Central Area, guys. If you guys see me coming here all the time, I am always recording. That's something that I love to do, especially the police, you know what I mean? And when I started this because I've been oppressed all my life. You know, I have an extended record. I've been everywhere you could think about, you know, and this is why I started this. This is why I film the cops. And my number one people that I like to film is the goddamn sheriffs, you know what I mean? Because they do a lot of shit that you guys don't see. You guys don't see what we see out here in the streets, bro. Like, you guys don't see it. You know, and it's tripping me out that we're in a sheriff commission meeting and I don't see not one sheriff up there with a uniform that we could address. That he could go back and tell this goddamn people out there. And this girl that came in here and said something about these guys are young. Don't give me that bullshit as excuse. We don't pay you for that. We don't pay you for as excuses to the people. The people pay you guys, and I hope you guys are commissioners, bro. I see you guys a lot of times. I see you guys a few times. I hope you guys do something about it. Because remember, you guys can get held accountable too. All of you guys. And it's not easy for you guys to find. Trust me, it's public information. You know what I mean? So I just hope we could do something about it for the community, bro, especially East LA, because I be here a lot, especially in East LA, because I bike ride a lot over here in East LA. So I know what you guys go through. And a lot of the sheriffs that we go through when we cop watch over there in South Central LA, they get transferred from East LA over there. So we deal with them over there. So when we do a make on them and we run their, whether we're And before they were here in East LA, terrorizing these streets out here. Now they want to terrorize over there. And I say this to all the public, guys. Make sure you film every single pig out there, man. If you see that guy doing something wrong, he cannot tell you not to record. If it's something that's gonna back you up, it's gonna be the video. Because everybody mouth could lie. You could kind of goddamn good story, you could come out here and say a good story, but your video is not gonna lie to me or to the people. Straight out. Record every single thing you see from the police officers, man. It's the only thing we're gonna make a change. You guys see a lot more videos out there of the cops doing their bullshit. I have a lot of videos where I post them on my social media so they can know you're not gonna do it to us no more, bro. We're tired of it. I'm tired of it. Thank you.
Thank you. We're Tomasius Martinez Tapia. Next, can we have joined the line Alocia Galindo? Please join the line.
Buenas tardes. ¿Hay traducción o no?
Un momento, por favor.
They gotta start your time again.
Can you restart it?
Buenas tardes a todos. Estoy aquí porque en verdad yo le tengo más miedo a los policías, a los sheriff, que a otra persona, porque me aterra.
So, good evening. The truth is that the people that I'm most afraid of. Good evening. The people that I'm most afraid of are the police. Buenos, seguimos.
Estoy aquí porque en verdad yo le tengo más miedo a los policías que a los sheriff.
I'm fearful more of the sheriff than the police,
Que a otra persona.
than other people.
Porque en realidad me aterra la idea,
In reality, the idea of
nomás de pensar que asesinen a alguno de mis familiares,
the idea of them
que asesinen a alguno de mis familiares.
that they might assassinate one of my, or they might murder one of my family members,
O los dañen.
or they'll hurt them.
Porque ellos están aquí para cuidar, no para dañar.
They're here to protect us, not to hurt us.
Y he aprendido a través de estos años que he estado en este país,
All these years that I've been in this country,
que la única que va a defender a mi familia soy yo.
the only person to defend my family is me.
Y he aprendido también a defender.
Buenas noches a todos los presentes en esta sala.
Good evening to all the panelists.
Mi nombre es Eloisa Galindo.
My name is Eloisa Galindo.
Soy parte de ISA y Padres contra la Privatización, CSO y Reclamando Nuestras Escuelas Los Ángeles.
I'm a part of Reclaiming Our Streets and Central CSO.
Hoy estoy aquí para hablar sobre los estudiantes que han salido de sus escuelas.
I'm here to talk about the students that have walked out in school.
Como ustedes saben, estamos viviendo un caos por la política de Donald Trump.
As you know, we're living through the politics of Donald Trump.
Como familias inmigrantes y trabajadoras,
With families that are hardworking,
los padres tienen miedo de salir a las calles.
people are afraid to walk the streets.
Los estudiantes han captado eso en su mente dentro de sus familias.
Students have captured that in their mind from dealing with their families.
Los estudiantes por redes sociales se organizaron para salir a las calles en protesta.
The students organized to protest and walk out.
Es por eso que yo los he acompañado a cuidarlos.
That's why I've accompanied to walk out with them and oversee them.
Los estudiantes están teniendo el valor suficiente de salir a defender los derechos civiles de sus familias por estrés.
There's a lot of stress.
sus padres, si no salen a trabajar, van a perder sus viviendas.
Their parents are afraid to work and they're going to lose their homes.
En las calles yo los he visto simplemente como unos seres humanos adolescentes.
I've seen adolescents in the street just walking alone.
Jóvenes que llevan sus letreros donde dice, aquí estamos por nuestros padres.
I've seen students with signs that say, we're here for our parents.
Donde le están diciendo a Donald Trump, queremos más dinero para nuestra educación, no deportación.
We want more money for education and less for deportation to Donald Trump.
Lo que yo he visto 2 veces en el City Hall,
What I've seen twice at City Hall,
2 como esas bombas que aparecieron ahorita, 2 mero en el City Hall, en medio de todos los estudiantes.
at City Hall I've seen 2 of those things. I believe she's referring to tear gas.
Lo que hicieron ellos fue correr y yo lo seguí, le dije qué pasó y me dijeron, es que estamos en algo ilegal y nos van a deportar o nos van a meter a la policía, nos van a llevar a la cárcel.
People were running and I asked them what's going on and the police told them that they're going to deport us.
Ellos tuvieron miedo por el gas que llegó 2 veces, 2 ocasiones.
We were afraid of the gas.
En una ocasión más, aquí en el este de Los Ángeles, en la plaza del Mariachi, en la plaza del Mariachi,
Mariachi Plaza,
llegaron unos policías y tiraron a un organizador al piso.
they threw an organizer to the floor.
Las personas adultas que estaban cuidando a los estudiantes tuvieron que poner en...
They're just trying to lift up the voices of their families.
Hoy quiero decirles a ustedes, por favor,
Today I would like to tell you, please,
si ellos vuelven a salir,
if they return to come out,
protéjanlos con las patrullas,
please protect them.
porque están saliendo de diferentes escuelas,
They're walking out from different schools.
se ponen en peligro,
They're in danger.
pero simplemente
Simply,
están llevando la voz de sus familias,
they're just trying to uplift the voices of their families.
la voz de sus comunidades
The voice of their community.
que están siendo atacadas por las políticas de un racista como Donald Trump.
Against the racism of a politician like Donald Trump.
Gracias.
Thank you.
We're going to go to online for our next public comment. We're going to go to Cindy Nunez. Cindy, you have been unmuted. Cindy, you have been unmuted.
Hi, thank you. Good evening, Commission. Good evening, everyone. My name is Cindy Nunez. I'm the sister of Francisco Nunez, who was kidnapped, tortured, and murdered by Lancaster Station deputies here in Lancaster last March. I just wanted to just chime in real quick, and the Fort Apache logo needs to go. From East LA Station, it has to go. One of the witnesses that has seen my brother when his situation happened last March, he was a 15-year-old boy who was shot by Deputy Contreras from East LA Station 5 times. They stole his chain. They took about 3 minutes to administer, to call in an ambulance. It's alarming when there's certain people that go up there and say that deputies at East LA Station have no idea about the Fort Apache logo. They do. Everyone there is very well aware. And regarding these East LA Station signs, I would agree with that as well. What they need to do is they need to put a sign, they need to put a memorial, some type of portrait of Anthony Vargas, so they could be reminded of what they really do out in those streets, which is they kill us. They murder innocent people, and that's what they need. They need portraits to honor our loved ones, and not East LA, logos of East LA. And I just want to say that, yeah, that station needs to go, and yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Our next online public comment is from Fernando EastLos. Fernando, you have been unmuted.
radio check.
We hear you, Fernando.
Okay, cool. Good evening, everybody. My name is Fernando. As I was just introduced, I was born and raised here in East LA, born out of White Memorial on Cesar Chavez. Before I was born and raised here, I grew up in East LA, and I ended up shipping off to the Marine Corps. So I'm also a Marine Corps veteran. So I come on here today just to denounce, number one, the behavior and tactics used by the Sheriff's Department, as well. For starters, if you've ever seen what these less than lethal, quote unquote, weapons used by law enforcement cause, the effects of these less than lethal, quote unquote, weapons, they cause damage, they cause harm. We've already heard Gabriel talk about how there was kids and families who were being victimized at the time that couldn't breathe because of the tear gas. The rubber bullets, right? These are big palm-sized rubber bullets sometimes that are being used against our people, and when done so, they cause some severe harm. Moving on, I also wanted to address a lady that mentioned the people throwing fireworks at deputies on the day of the Dodger celebration. While they're doing so, it's probably to defend themselves from being terrorized by deputies in full riot gear. So yeah, and just to conclude, for the Apache logo, there's no need for it. They're not a gang. They don't need to conduct themselves like they are. We know the history of it, how it's tied to journalist Ruben Salazar's murder. So yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to come on here and talk about. Thank you so much for letting me speak, and I yield the rest of my time.
Thank you. Our next online comment will come from Lorraine. Lorraine, you have been unmuted. Lorraine, you have been unmuted. We'll move on to the next online comment from S. S, you have been unmuted.
And you abandon your training and still be able to with impunity. Sheriffs abandon their post-training and endanger civilians, children, infants, mothers, fathers, our grandparents, and they abuse their authority, burning vehicles and businesses. Tear gas has many health implications, and this is what they expose to children. These health problems last years. We are here to ask for accountability and not just form empty words. The logo is more than a logo. It is an active game. The banditos and the celebrations.
No, right now.
As you can please continue.
Okay, well, I've been to many trials and I've seen these gangs operate. They kill with impunity. They do exist. They have tattoos that signify their killings. They harass families. So what we're asking for, what are the next steps in actual action, and not on empty words, because we can keep coming to the committee, but what are the actions and steps afterwards? We can watch our communities ourselves instead of funding the East LA station or Hollenbeck station. We can fund our communities for education, healthcare, housing, and our own people can watch each other, where we have actual accountability. Central CSO is in the community. It's derived of individuals who live there. And these officers and sheriffs are disgruntled, racist individuals who don't even live here. They don't live in the communities, they don't live here. So we're asking for actual accountability and what we can do. And if you guys can provide it, we can do it ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now go back to Lorraine. And unmuted. Lorraine?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Okay, hi, yes, I was present during the Dodger celebration in the East LA community area. I'm a community advocate and resident of East Los Angeles. And when it comes down to it, the East LA Sheriff's Department are the professionals and they're supposed to be trained. They're fully equipped with the riot gear that they come out with. And there is no reason that they cannot follow the protocol that is necessary and required of them when they are dispersing a crowd. They are indiscriminately shooting into the crowd. They are not giving clear directions. It's very difficult to understand or even hear their directions with the helicopters flying overhead, with music, and as people mentioned, fireworks going off, music, cheering going on in the community. So they have a lot of training in de-escalating situations. They need training, proper training on de-escalating, not escalating that situation. My husband and I were present during these celebrations on bike, warning the community and giving them a heads up on how to disperse properly to escape from these violent and aggressive tactics by the East LA Sheriff's Department. People who are in the laundromat, people who are working in the food truck, who are completely innocent, were suffering from the pepper balls and the intimidated sheriff's department in one way or another, whether it be creeping, low riding, they are constantly treating us and criminalizing us as if we are criminals in the neighborhood. We are actually there to help and support the community, and we reject and demand that the Fort Apache logo be banned. And we also demand that they receive proper training on how to de-escalate situations rather than escalate situations, and follow the proper protocols in dispersing a crowd. No matter what the crowd is doing to celebrate, they are the ones who are equipped and prepared and should have no excuse in treating with people who have elderly, children, and pregnant people, women,
Thank you.
teenagers.
Thank you, Lorraine. Our next online public comment is from Sol Marquez. Sol, you have been unmuted.
Yes, thank you. I am Sol Marquez. I'm a member of Central CSO Community Service Organization. First of all, thank you to the COC for having us on a panel. Carlos Montes up there it's such a great thing. Sheriffs decided to bring back during the 50th Chicano moratorium anniversary. That is not a coincidence. For them to bring it back full throttle, being posted on the East LA Sheriff's window when you walk in, during the 50th anniversary, that just goes to show you that they are very proud of that history. And for them to remove it now, it's them trying to, wax themselves of any responsibility of what they've done. Now they're proudly wearing it on their uniforms. And for them to come out with this Fort Apache symbol when they're talking to victims of police brutality, the people that they kill, that's even worse. For them to have to see that symbol and it being worn by Chicanos, which is also a slap in the face when it was Chicanos who were trying to fight for equality and justice and a right to exist in 1970. So that's the Fort Apache symbol that we're trying to eradicate. The other thing that we would like to do is ask the Sheriff's Department why they thought that children, pregnant women, and elderly people were upset during the World Series celebration of the Dodger win. Is it that the LA Sheriff's Department doesn't like the Dodgers? Is it that they are threatened by children and pregnant women and elderly people? Or is it something else? Is it the fact that we are not allowed to be happy and celebrate on our streets in our own communities? Is it that? Is it that they want to keep us stifled and unable to celebrate our people, our victory in our city? I think that other places around the country are allowed to celebrate in various ways. I recall not too many years ago, in the Hollywood Hills, there was a mansion that somebody owned and they decided to break in. The hammer is brought in the LA Sheriff's Department and especially in the East LA area. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Our next public comment will come from the audience. If I could have Miriam Valdinos take the mic. Miriam Valdivinos. And if we can have in the line, Tony DeMarco.
everybody. This is my first time at one of these meetings. My name is Miriam Nunez. It is my first time learning about the problematic nature of the logo in addition to the actual methods of dispersal during the celebration. In my personal experience, I didn't know that the CSO existed. I would appreciate if I were to be able to connect with you because I have found it problematic that even in the absence of attending any of these celebrations, oftentimes they do hypersexualize people when they place a phone call. In my experience, my calls have pertained to national security, and most of the time I'm met with unethical behaviors. Sometimes the nature of my phone calls pertain to national security, and I'll give you an example. Let's say that I can contact the FAA immediately because I see a variety of airplanes that are flying below normal altitude levels. Or let's say that I receive bomb threats and then I'm calling and I'm saying, I really need you to arrive to intervene. Or if I say, I'm a master's student of criminology and criminal justice and I need your support because oftentimes I'm being deterred from being able to read or write because I'm receiving death threats from people in my own community. I don't live in this jurisdiction, I didn't grow up in this jurisdiction, and I respect the people that I have, but I am telling you that in conjunction to some of the problematic behaviors they have experienced, I have also been victimized, and I would appreciate support and or connecting with the CSO to make sure that we can have amicable relationships with the department. I'm not saying that every single person is a violator because they're not, but what I am saying is, in the instances that we find that people are violating the oath, that they should be held accountable with some semblance of ramification. Maybe terminations might be something that people need. Other times they need training. Other times they need to be placed with their partners. Sometimes they need to be outsourced into other communities. And I think that may be a way for us to find solutions to some of these behaviors. I think I only have like 54 seconds left. I'm hoping that what I'm sharing with you today is something that you take with, I don't even know what to call it. But I hope that it's helpful and I hope that it actually amplifies some of the things that are happening to me specifically. I think other things that other people have talked about tonight have been actually deportations. I come from a mixed status family and I'm hearing that there's a lot of divisiveness on that end and perhaps also escalating training. Hey, there's people that have American family, people that have lived here the entire time, people like me who have legal entries. Maybe we're not leaving anywhere and perhaps we should be thinking of how we speak about things in public with possible double entendres and how we can resolve the issues, okay? Thank you so much. I think I have like 9 more seconds. I don't have anything else to say, but I'm hoping that what I said tonight is helpful and that I'm able to receive assistance.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Tony DeMarco, and if we can have Johnny Torres join the line.
Hello, Tony DeMarco with the Whittier Boulevard Merchant Association. Just a different perspective on most of the people up here. So we have about 250 businesses on Whittier Boulevard. It's the Whittier Boulevard Shopping District from 710 to Atlantic. And, you know, we were watching from the Padres win and through the finals, the World Series. We were worried as a business association because we knew what was coming. This has happened before. So I just want to say that we expect our sheriff's department to protect the businesses, to protect the landowners. I'm a landowner. I'm a business owner for 27 years on Whittier Boulevard. And we do see, after these events, graffiti, trash. Sometimes we have damage to our buildings. So we do expect the sheriff's department to respond and protect our businesses. We are taxpayers. We pay sales tax. I know watching it, especially the finals, there were thousands and thousands of people on Whittier Boulevard. Okay, so I'm not here to talk about tactics. I don't know what, I just saw from the helicopter view, from the news view, what was going on, and there were a lot of people. I heard there were ordinances, not just, I'm hearing it was like only from the sheriff are throwing these incendiary devices, but I also heard there were very large ordinances that were being, exploded or detonated from the public that came there. That is not safe for our community. And we need protections against that sort of activity. So I just want to say that as a merchant and with the WBMA, that we support the sheriff department protecting our assets. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Johnny Torres. And if we can have Eddie Torres join the line, please.
Torres. Good to see you, Brother Carlos. So as I'm JT, Johnny Torres. Can you hear me? All right. A little closer. I do intervention in East LA, and I just want to say, kind of like my brother Carlos said, going back to 1970 with Ruben Salazar and even before, there's been countless homicides of our people in the hundreds through the sheriff's department. I can say that I know it's in the hundreds because I've been responding to crisis in East LA, grew up in East LA, but responding to crisis in East LA since 2018. And from 2018 to now, there's been so many homicides in the community, the sheriffs in the double digits, from youth ranging from 8 years old all the way to 56. And I got the list of all the youth and all those crises and all those families that I supported. When it comes to Fort Apache, now I'm showing this, I'm a registered Apache, the Chihina of New Mexico. I'm a registered Apache. And Fort Apache was a fort that was established during the U.S. wars against the Apache, and it was a place where they incarcerated, tortured, murdered, and killed Apaches for a decade. When my ancestor Geronimo turned himself in, and his last 20 warriors, when they closed Fort Apache, they renamed it to a boarding school called Theodore Roosevelt. Theodore Roosevelt and the Rough Riders hung more Mexicans in the Southwest than the Ku Klux Klan hung blacks in the South. So Theodore Roosevelt Apache boarding school, formerly known as Fort Apache, was a place where they assimilated Apache and Navajo children, and they also brutalized, abused, molested, and raped Apache children. That is the history of Fort Apache. But we're supposed to tolerate now because they said they called it based on a movie with John Wayne, and it's supposed to be acceptable because of their ignorance. They didn't know that they called it Fort Apache, and that was the horrible legacy and history that's behind Fort Apache. But would it have been okay to call it the Guns of Navarro with a fantastic action movie, Clint Eastwood, and a swastika on it? It would have not have been accepted if they had a swastika up there. The Jewish community would have shut it down. They would have called it anti-Semitic. They would have shut it down if there was a swastika. They would have shut it down if it was called Guns of Navarro. But because now we're supposed to accept it because it's called Fort Apache was such a horrible legacy, and then it's followed with siempre una patada pantalones and used to kick you in the balls, really, and then low profile. Why low profile? Because that was the orders that were given to them when they went out and they invaded the East LA during that peaceful protest, and they were successful keeping a low profile because there's footage of sickened dogs, footage where they killed Ruben Salazar, and the fact that it's already been exposed, the sheriff gangs throughout Los Angeles, they were unsuccessful at being keeping a low profile. But I can see my time's up, so if y'all have been talking about this for decades, if you can't fight this, maybe this summer when I go back to New Mexico, maybe it's time for me to take you to the 11 band of my Apache Nation, and maybe the Apaches, we can put a class action lawsuit to the sheriffs because we need for the Apache not only remove from the station, but from the coffee mugs, from the buttons, from the uniforms, from the bumper stickers, it has to be removed completely.
Our next public comment is from Eddie Torres. And if we can have Aston Joseph Nunez take the line, please.
So just for the record, that was Johnny Torres. My name is Eddie Torres. There's no relationship. After I speak, he's gonna be glad that I said that. So my name is Eddie Torres. I don't look like the rest of my Chicano brothers, but I got a large experience, 66 years old, growing up in East Los Angeles, ex-gang member, shot with stun guns, chained down to beds, put in straight jackets more than once, because I was under the influence of drugs, and I was vicious out there. I even put a cop in the hospital, and LA County Sheriff's. Odd thing about it goes, when I sobered up, I've been sober for 30 years, I can't get them to bother me. But I'm on them about accountability. I represent the East Los Angeles Chamber of Commerce. I've lived there all my life. We demand accountability from them, but in this particular instance with the celebrations, this is my comments. On behalf of the East LA Chamber of Commerce and the members we represent on Wooded Boulevard and Olympic specifically. We were told and we saw on TV the sheriffs repeatedly requested for the celebrators to disperse. We saw that on TV and we agreed that that's what took place. Business owners on Olympic Boulevard and Woody Boulevard that I've been talking to, they expressed to me that they were concerned for their safety of their businesses in the community, and we told them that they should call for the sheriffs to stop what was going on for the safety of the whole community. They did. The sheriffs, they also expressed that when I had asked them to please come tonight and express their concerns, how they said, so it's not just me representing them, they said they were afraid of retaliation from, and this is how they expressed it, if people that were celebrating that they actually called rioters were out there fighting or resisting or ignoring the sheriff's demands, do you think they're not going to retaliate against my business? So that they're afraid, which is often the case. That's sad, because we're all Mexican Americans, we're always looking for the same thing. After these events, there was a lot of graffiti, like the other people have mentioned, and that's very costly to the community. It sends the wrong message. I try and always put myself in other people's positions when I'm bringing up a debate or something, and I do security services for events, and I don't let anyone get away with spitting in my face, breaking a bottle, or threatening me. But you know what? I've seen videos where there's deputies that are parked protecting the community, and I see guys, videographers, throw them the finger, and the sheriff's deputies hold themselves a great restraint. I couldn't do that. I get into a lot of complaints with people that we do security for. The people, the promoters, they love me, and the crowd, they don't like me because I'm not gonna take that. I could not stand somewhere. Oh, one more thing.
Thank you.
One more thing. There was explosive.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Torres. Our next public comment is from Aston Nunez. And if we can have Mary Lou Hernandez join the line, please.
Hello, hi, good evening, everyone. I go by Joseph. So I'm here because of this article published by Police One that the LASD announces policy officially banning deputy gangs. This is in September. At that same time, in October 5th, the oversight officials concerned about Nazi symbolism in Norwalk, Police of California, Southern California. We have here Luna, right? Luna is the one that stated that, Sheriff Luna. And again, we should have sheriffs on the board there to speak directly to. But as a product of the '92 Rodney King riot, the inner city had endured police injustice and corruption for far too long, similar to the Rampart police scandal, implicated in misconduct which had not been common, for instance, in affluent communities in Orange County. Which include, this activity included unprovoked beatings, shootings, police planting and covering up evidence, police dealing drugs, and police perjury. Look it up. Years later, in the shadow of that crash gang unit, the Community Resources Against Street Hoodlums, which ended in about the 1990s, early, during quarantine, this behavior continued, where both the police and sheriff attempted to patrol and completely control every single narrative that might contradict their corrupt and racist practices, claiming a second person pronoun, you. The sheriff's police claiming a second person pronoun, you, the letter, or he, laughing, without proper accountability or oversight for neither you or I, or especially people of color, Africans, celebrating Black History Month. Conveniently, the capital of the Chicano civil rights movement here in East Los Angeles. Conveniently, the police gang and narcotic clinics have long claimed the letter and the vowel U to represent those same corrupted gang units, spelled U-N-I-T-S. Units, spelled U-N-I-T-S. While oppressing and terrorizing my beloved hometown, which I lived 30 years for in Bow Heights. Luckily enough, we have the federal prison, we have the LA County prison, we have sheriffs driving right in between, going from East Los Angeles to the federal prison, to East Los Angeles, to federal prison, talking shit. Pardon, disrespectful.
Thank you.
All
Thank
those
you,
years.
Mr. Nunez. Next, we have Mary Lou Hernandez. If we can have Freddie Rojas take the line, please.
Good evening, everyone. This is my first time attending one of these meetings, and I want to thank my other friends that invited me. But listening to everybody's pros and cons, what happened, it's sad, and I'm glad that we do have a commission to oversee this. But I would like to extend an invitation to the commission as well to everybody in the community. Just like the way everybody's here tonight, we have monthly meetings at Central Maravilla regarding several issues. We invite the sheriffs, CHP, Public Works, just like everybody's here tonight. I wish you can go to those meetings so we can resolve some of these issues. Because we can talk and talk and talk and talk and talk, and nothing's not gonna get resolved. I get it, I grew up in the 70s, so I know what he's talking about, the walkouts, I get it. But if we're gonna come over here and gripe and gripe and gripe and gripe and not resolve the issues, we're not gonna get no place. So I invite the commission to please to attend our monthly meetings, as well as everybody that's here tonight as well. Just like the way you came here today, you go every month to our monthly meetings with Central Maravilla. You want to go there, I'll be more than happy to let you know when our meetings are held.
Second Tuesday of the month.
Second Tuesday of the month. Be there, and we will try to resolve the issue that's going on. We work with the sheriffs, we work with the CHP, we work with Public Works. We invite people from the LA Council City's office. Be there. If you're so concerned about everything that's going on, get to those meetings. Get to those meetings and let's resolve these issues. All right? Thank you.
Thank you. Freddie Rojas.
My name is Freddie. This is not easy for me to do. I lived in East LA for 34 years.
Momento, por favor.
I've been in East LA for 34 years. We see the scale. Justice is supposed to be a balance, but we all know there's no balance. You look the other way when it comes to the banditos, you know about the 3,000 boys. We all know about that. I say that from being active in prison. I've been in jail. I just did 10 years. Been out here 2 years clean, came back to society. Clean member, positive things, working with LA County, working for Metro, MTA buses, going to college, being a father. None of that matters when I have a past. They're always judged on a logo. Why can they represent their logo and expose it everywhere? But a person like me gets identified for a marking, a tattoo, and right away has to be accountable for their actions. Talking about what happens, sheriff's deputies comes, they start terrorizing the public. They start telling them it's not illegal to be there. So why should the public have to disperse when there's no chaos going on? I do hear some people saying, hey, we want to go ahead and show our children good, not show them this, not show them that, the negative things that people do. That's true, but when there's a peaceful celebration going on, sheriffs come and start shooting the flashbangs. Of course, there's going to be people who are going to retaliate when there's something peaceful going on. So I think that they should be held accountable for their actions too. For years, this has been going on, and we need something done now. It's not fair that people keep dying, and nothing's ever done. So why should these sheriffs be out there and nothing happens? I was there at the celebration multiple times because of that, only because I was there. Now, at this moment, I'm being charged with attempted murder on 6 officers. I post bail. Why? All because of this tattoo, because of my history. So to them, it's like, okay, well, he was there. Yeah, let's see what he looks like. All right. Walking by, minding my business with the family. Now they'll go ahead and pull my record. They look at my record. It's not nice. I have to admit, it's not nice at all. all violent. I did 10 years in maximum security, 22 hours lockdown, 2 hours sunlight, 10 years. I come home, I change my life around, but
Thank you, Mr.
gotta be at
Rojas.
peace.
Thank you. We're now going to go back online. We have Marcus Whitmore. You have been unmuted.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
I do think that this is important to have, and I appreciate everybody for showing up and speaking their truth tonight. I do want to point out that I think that it's disappointing that we don't have a single sheriff who showed up to this event. And I think that if there's going to be any kind of real discussion across the aisle, we need to have a conversation with the group of people that need to make the change. And as far as the Fort Apache logo goes, I think the most salient thing said tonight was made by another member of the community, Mr. Torres, when he said that it's akin to a swastika. And to allow for the sheriff to continue to wear this, it's just completely unacceptable. If this were any other group, and I won't name which group, you know, this would have been gone and done with and erased yesterday. And I think that there needs to be accountability, but you know, I've just gotten an opportunity to look at the panel now, and I was looking at the crowd before. I'm at home on my computer. I'm just assuming and hoping that you're taking notes, because at the next event that we have, I think that we need to have some kind of discussion that can be taken back to the sheriffs. There was a woman who came on earlier, and she mentioned something to the effect of, oh, well, a lot of these sheriffs are young and they don't know what it means. And to be frank, I think that's a lot of BS. And I think that if they don't know what it means, we need to have them here so we can put them on explicit notice of what it means, so that they can go back and talk to all the sheriffs and there can be no misunderstanding about what that logo means in this community. And then to echo what was said by the gentleman who was speaking just before me, I would like to say that I think it was in this case of the celebration for the World Series, the sheriffs who were the instigators, who were the party responsible for causing the violence, when it's their job to be the party that keeps the peace. And when we think about things like these, it's not what the sheriff or what the news media or what the papers make this out to be. It was families celebrating out there. Children, mothers, husbands, fathers, sons. It was a community. But again, if the sheriffs show up to these kinds of things and begin instigating, of course there are going to be elated, or there's a lot of spirits that are heightened, and the sheriffs are not strangers to instigating these kinds of events. And I think that in the future there needs to be better protocol in place, and perhaps some more distance put between the sheriffs and these kinds of crowds.
Thank you. Our next online public comment is from Vanessa Perez. Vanessa, you have been unmuted.
Perez, I'm the mother of Joseph Perez, who was severely beaten by industry sheriffs. I just want to say to that mother that was trying to speak, the impacted mother trying to speak, shame on you guys. You guys should have allowed her to speak and share her story. And I would encourage that mother to go to the COC meeting on March 20th and give a family impact statement on what happened to her son. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now come back to the audience for public comments. We have Allie Rubenfield. Will you take the mic? And if we can have Christy join the line.
Hi, I'm actually here to talk to everybody in this room. My name is Allie Rubenfeld. I'm a legal fellow with the Sheriff and the Loyola Anti-Racism Center. We're conducting independent research on LASD's treatment of East Los Angeles. We know that for too long, the sheriffs have had control over this narrative, what it's like and what these police dynamics and what events like the Dodgers Stadium, the Dodgers celebration, what really happened. And we want to talk to you and we want to document your experience firsthand instead of it being controlled by outside forces. We're also here to help support you in filing complaints if you'd like to do that and your identity can remain anonymous. I'm here with law students and professors, and we really just want to hear from you. I'm over in the corner. Please come find us at the end if you're available. Thank you.
Thank you, Christy. And then if we can have Sylvia Corona join the line.
Hi, good evening. Thank you so much for hosting today's town hall. I was born and raised in unincorporated East Los Angeles, third generation, go Bulldogs. I'm also a current resident community advocate. I lead a local CAC here in unincorporated East Los Angeles, and I'm glad to see we have active community members, business owners, Soledad enrichment team, the LASD, East LA sheriffs here, and I also just wanted to express my condolences to those who have lost loved ones. I just want to share that as an unincorporated community, we have no city council or mayor. And as a result, it's unfortunate that we have to bring this concern to a committee of individuals who do not live in our community and truly don't understand our daily quality of life issues. I also invite you, thank you, to attend our monthly meetings where we bring together different stakeholders to discuss solutions on a monthly basis. Everyone in this equation needs to be held accountable. I'm not in favor of excess force when it's unwarranted. But we also cannot excuse people throwing frozen water bottles, fireworks, vandalism, or fireworks at law enforcement and vandalism. What the video and many other videos, the celebratory videos do not show is that this is not an isolated incident. These takeovers are highly disruptive and they impact traffic, public safety, noise pollution, loitering, littering, public drinking, access to public transportation, illegal fireworks, vandalism, and graffiti. Our taxpayer money is then used to clean up the aftermath. We shouldn't have to front the bill for these activities, nor be prisoners in our own home because we're afraid to come out due to these street takeovers. This activity is disrespectful and inconsiderate of local residents, homeowners, and business owners, as we've heard. I'm a lifelong Dodger fan. Go Dodgers! But I also recognize that people need to be responsible and act like adults when celebrating and be respectful of the neighborhoods and businesses. Local residents did ask law enforcement to be proactive and maintain safety on Whittier Boulevard by closing those streets to maintain order because we always see activity in unincorporated East Los Angeles on Whittier Boulevard for these events. We ask that the sheriffs continue to uphold the quality of life for residents and business owners during these street takeovers. I would also appreciate clarity from your entity on next steps and how we can have a dialogue that can truly lead to proactive solutions where all parties are at the table. Otherwise, we are only finger pointing. I invite you to come out and witness these street takeovers firsthand so we can truly problem solve together. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Next, we have Sylvia Corona. And if we can have Stephanie Luna join the line.
Buenas noches a todos. Mi nombre es Silvia Corona y he vivido aquí en la comunidad por 50 años.
Good evening to everyone. My name is Sylvia Corona. I've lived in the community 50 years.
La cosa es que estamos discutiendo y ¿cuál va a ser la solución?
The thing is we're discussing and discussing what's the solution.
La solución, en lugar de estarnos quejando, deberíamos de mirar cómo se puede hacer un evento mejor que el que se hizo. Puede ser un día especial que se inviten a los Dodgers o a ciertas personas que tienen un montón, todo el este de Los Ángeles de fanáticos de ellos.
So there's a lot of fanatics in East LA and we need a day that's designated for the community to celebrate.
Además, otro de los problemas que hay, no hay suficientes policías. Nuestra comunidad está bien crecida y no hay la cantidad que se requiere de policías tampoco.
There's not enough police to match the demographics or the population of the community. There's so many people in the area.
Yo pienso que de todas las partes tenemos que cooperar.
I
para que haya un mejor futuro y un mejor mañana. Yo he tenido
I think we need to come together to find solutions to cooperate.
grandes amigos que ya pasaron por muchos años, que fue el señor.
I have a lot of lifelong friends.
Yo trabajé mucho con los padres en la escuela Garfield y muchas personas me conocen.
I've worked with a lot of the youth and the families from Garfield High School.
Y siempre mi idea ha sido eso, el cómo vamos a solucionar las cosas y cómo las vamos a mejorar. Tenemos que hacer otras maneras como solucionar esto. Lo siento muchísimo por las personas que han perdido sus seres queridos. Yo también tengo hijos y todo, pero tenemos que estar bien unidos nosotros. Por ejemplo, yo siempre voy a las...
We need to be solutions oriented. I feel so sorry for the people that have lost family members.
La cosa es que hay que buscar una mejor manera como crecer aquí en la comunidad pero también otra de las partes hoy, perdón, se me olvidó, el señor Omar Castillos, que trabajaba para el Sheriff's Department.
On the contrary, Omar Castillo, who works for the Sheriff's Department,
El señor Magdaleno también, en esos años ellos eran policías.
and Mr. Magdaleno, they were both police officers.
En ese tiempo había muchachos que tenían problemas, había una niña que alguien la estaba molestando y eso.
There was a young girl who was being assaulted.
Fuimos a hablar con la directora y la directora no nos hizo caso, ignoró. Entonces venimos nosotros al sheriff.
We went to the director and we were ignored, so we went to the sheriff.
Y ¿sabe qué? El señor Magdaleno, él fue a la escuela con nosotros y fue a respaldar a la mamá. Así es que quizás sí hay muchos policías malos y es como todo, pero también tenemos buenos policías. Yo he estado en...
Mr. Magdaleno went with us to the school and followed up just how there is in the community. There's a lot of bad people. Like the police, there's also a lot of good people. There's a lot of good police as well.
Una de las cosas que tenemos que trabajar en conjunto, yo he estado, siempre voy a las juntas de Maravilla.
I always go to the Maravilla community meetings.
Y no defiendo a nadie. Yo digo, si deben de buscar diciendo, automáticamente debe de salir. Pero no también por eso.
I'm not here to defend anybody. If anybody has a tattoo, they need to be removed from the sheriff's.
Sabemos que la discriminación está por todos lados, pero también ahora tenemos que tener un espíritu de unidad todos los de la comunidad, porque todo esto que está pasando, el racismo desde mero arriba, esto es algo tremendo. Y por eso yo creo que debemos estar unidos y trabajar juntos. También en las escuelas.
The community needs to be a united front given the current political climate.
Y yo he mirado también que las escuelas, y no critico a nadie,
I don't criticize anybody.
no
but
les
I've
están
seen
dando a los muchachos la educación que se merecen.
schools aren't giving the education that the kids deserve.
Muchos muchachos, me siento muy orgullosa de todos los que han salido a protestar, y yo también he salido a protestar con mi familia.
I'm very proud of all kids that have gone to protest the current political climate, and I've also gone out myself to protest.
Y espero en Dios que todos trabajemos en comunidad y todo para poder hacer un cambio de verdad en esta comunidad. Y para los que están arriba que los mandan a ellos y todo, ellos deben de tomar, y que no los traigan a ellos, que los traigan a ellos aquí, para que vengan y nos escuchen, para que ellos solamente son parte de la raíz del problema, que vengan a la parte de arriba, ¿de dónde viene todo esto, verdad?
We need some of those officials here to
Y
listen.
que vengan y nos den respuestas, ¿verdad?
And we need answers.
Thank you.
Gracias a todos.
Thank you. Next, we have Stephanie Luna.
How's it going, everyone? I want to start off by saying thank you guys for coming out to East LA here from the community. I wish I was new to this commission, but unfortunately that's not the case. 6 years ago, 2 sheriff deputies murdered my nephew, Anthony Vargas, for a Bandito deputy gang initiation. I've never had a positive encounter with this department. Instead, I've been harassed, brutalized, and intimidated for speaking out against them. I also live in fear of my son growing up here, but not because of the street gangs or the takeovers, but because of the deputy gangs. This department acts with impunity because for decades they faced no consequences for their actions. I'd like to remind everyone here today that these celebrations are peaceful until the sheriffs show up. These celebrations are not dangerous until the sheriffs show up in full riot gear ready to shoot at us. I was on Whittier Boulevard. There was pride for the city that had just won. There was music, people having fun, families creating memories. The sheriffs show up and the brutalization began. People running, trying to get away from the tear gas-filled streets. Families grabbing their children, falling over on sidewalks because there were flashbangs being shot overhead. Many that had hit businesses, I might add. Maybe that's where some of that structural damage came from. These less than lethal projectiles were fired at us at close range as we followed their orders to disperse. Even when we complied, they still fired at us. To the merchants here today, remember, structures can be rebuilt, graffiti can be removed, lives cannot be brought back. Now about the station logo. The Fort Apache emblem is not just an image, it represents decades of terror inflicted upon our community. The term Fort Apache is drawn from colonial violence where settlers saw indigenous people as enemies to be conquered. When law enforcement adopts this symbol, they're openly declaring their view of East LA not as a community to protect, but as an enemy territory to be occupied and controlled. For generations, our families have suffered at the hands of sheriff deputies operating under this toxic mindset. This is a public institution funded by our tax dollars, endorsing a symbol that glorifies oppression. This logo is not about pride or tradition. It's about control, intimidation, and the dehumanization of our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next public comment is from Erica Bravo. Take the line, please.
Good evening, everybody. I just wanted to kind of share, I work with a mental health diversion program, and as an employee at a mental health diversion program, I need to be the bigger person. I have to learn how to de-escalate situations. I think that that's an important message here that a lot of people have shared. These were families out there. Of course, we see what happens in the news, what they give out in the news, right? But the story is down there. Our family has been down there. It was really peaceful until like a lot of you guys have mentioned here today, police came and, it's very intimidating. We're growing up, I know a lady mentioned, we're not calling the cops, because we're fearful, we're being suppressed, we don't know if it's because, the color of our skin, but I'm very proud of the community for coming out and speaking up. It takes a lot for them to be up here and, speaking up and, sharing their feelings, sharing their emotions. It's a lot, but thank you, everybody that came up here. And like I said, me at my job and everybody here at their job, we have to be held accountable, we have to be professional. Why can't we expect that from the cops? There's so much funding for them. It's, they go through so many trainings. Why can't they humanize us? Thank you.
Thank you, Paloma, Laura, and then if we can have Aracelia Covarrubias, please retake the line, please.
Hi everybody, my name is Paloma Lara. I grew up in Boyle Heights in East LA. I'm currently a college student in my third year now, and I'm 20 years old. And in my 20 years of growing up in Boyle Heights, I've seen so many of my community members and even friends killed at the hands of LASD and even LAPD. First, Jesse Romero, he was shot by LAPD and he was 15, and he was a kid in my neighborhood, we knew him. And the thing is, when killings happen in our neighborhood, it's a domino effect, It doesn't just affect the family, but it affects the neighborhood, And we also have people like David Ordaz Jr. that was shot by LASD, or Anthony Vargas, I remember all that happening. And it sucks because I'm only 20 years old, but it's like I've lived through so many of these deaths at the hands of LASD, LAPD, and it's like how many more deaths are gonna happen until we actually do something about it, No one else should be killed. This should stop here. they should ban the Fort Apache logo, especially for what it stands for, the Chicano moratorium and the death of Ruben Salazar. And it's just, how many more deaths are we gonna take? It's a domino effect. It affects the whole community. It's not just the family. It affects the kids in the community, you know? But that's just all I have to say. You guys have to ban the Fort Apache logo. You guys gotta reform the sheriff's department. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of seeing all of my community members being scared or people getting killed and stuff like that. I'm just so sick of it, you know? And my brother's growing up in the same community and he's starting to notice the same things. And he's 10 years old and somehow he's conceptualized the fact that like the LA Sheriff's Department is someone that you should stay away from. But that's all I gotta say.
Thank you. We have Ms. Arcelia Covarrubias retaking the mic.
So just backtracking, earlier I was sharing about my son's death, and the exact result of the autopsy was exactly that I was asked during that interrogation I was telling you guys about earlier. So that's one. And we're asking the commissioner to clean house, and all our public representatives. We pay taxes, we pay your salaries, including the sheriffs. This is ridiculous. They have the tattoos, it's out there, we know about it. They just indicted 2 of the deputy sheriffs at the county jail bringing in the drugs for the inmates. Are you kidding me? We want you guys to clean house. We want resolution. We want you to do something about it because our young men, our family members are dying in the hands of these sheriffs. We want the bandidos out. We want the executioners out. And we want the 3,000 boys, which are the county jail sheriffs. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes our public comments. We'll now hear from the Executive Director, Charmaine Mosley, with final remarks.
Can y'all hear me? Yes. So, this was kind of tough. But I want to say that as we end today's town hall, I'd like to express my gratitude to the community members who came out today in person and also who are attending virtually. Thank you so much for expressing yourselves and taking the time to be here. Please know that we hear you. We hear frustration. We hear your experiences. We will take your feedback to the Commission's ad hoc committee. The committee, along with staff, will compile a list of today's comments and decide how to move forward. This could entail looking at best practices from other law enforcement agencies, as well as examining LASD's policies, practices, and procedures. We can look at San Diego and what they've been doing regarding the First Amendment gatherings. And I remember those meetings when I was leading that board commission a couple of years ago. I remember sitting in policy committee meetings. It was open to the public, and it was held after the murder of George Floyd. We had to look at SDPD's policies and procedures and search and try to find out what were they following during the, they would call it protests. So there are best practices out there. I know they revisited it recently. So I'm sharing that because we don't have to start from scratch. There are best practices that we can pick up and follow. Civilian oversight bodies have difficult community's interactions with the Sheriff's Department while making sure there is accountability and transparency within law enforcement. We've seen a shift in transparency and accountability nationwide, especially now with the new administration. So with that said, we have to continue to work together. And let me just disclose, because you're probably all wondering why I sound like this, it's because I'm from the Bronx. I'm not from here. So I always start off by disclosing that. Restoring public trust and keeping everyone safe in Los Angeles is an important goal. This listening session doesn't end here. It's an ongoing effort that requires collaboration, vigilance, and a steadfast commitment to doing the right thing for our community by staying involved. Civilian oversight of the police is not the same as civilian oversight of the Sheriff's Department. Police chief reports to a mayor. The sheriff is an elected official. So we have to always keep that in mind. But I always believe that together we can reshape the past. We have a long road ahead of us, but I do believe in hope and working together. This is, I believe, my 14th month here since I started here in LA. So let me just say a huge thank you to Ms. Bolton for moderating this panel. And this is his first town hall. Thank you, Robert. And also thank you to my fellow panelists. And again, thank you to community members for using your voice to share your experiences with us. We ask you to take time to complete the feedback survey. So please scan the QR code or enter the website listed on the screen. Go to the screen. Staff, please share the QR code up on the screen. And lastly, our next commission meeting will be on Thursday, March 20th at 9 a.m. at St. Anne's Conference Center, and we welcome you all to attend. It's important that you all stay engaged as we are continuing to promote transparency and accountability. And this commission has been doing a lot of work since I got here as far as trying to push for effective oversight of this commission when it comes to being able to access confidential information. That's what this commission has been steadfastly pushing for. So please stay involved. Our next community town hall is going to be in Lancaster Library on Thursday, March 27th on LASD's complaint process. And I think I'm going to turn it over to Commissioner Vice Chair Johnson.
Thank you, Charmaine, and thank you to all for being here today. I want to just comment on the organic nature of this town hall and how it came about. Because within 24 hours, people in this community watched with members of our commission, and we're engaging our commissioners and commission staff in holding a town hall to create transparency, to create an opportunity for people to bear witness to what they had experienced, and to create accountability. Accountability is a tenuous thing. We all know that. That's why we're here tonight. But I want to encourage people to continue to be in touch with us as commissioners and with commission staff. I want to pay particular thanks to Robert Flores for the diligence to make this town hall happen. And although delayed by the fires, we had this town hall here tonight, and it came about because of the feedback from this community and the insistence on having a channel of accountability. Thank you, and keep it up. Keep it up. We're here to make these vehicles of accountability happen. Second, I want to give one specific bit of information, which is that the status of a policy by the Sheriff's Department to ban the Fort Apache logo and to ban divisive tattoos that it reflects is in process in negotiation between ALADS and the Sheriff's Department now. So your voices, your concern, your pressure on deputies and on the deputies group about your opposition to these symbols matters. It matters right now. We have a sheriff who grew up in this community in East Los Angeles, who is not blind and is not deaf to the concerns of this community, and that policy is in negotiation now. Pressure on the deputies group to enforce the law and to comply with state law in banning racist symbolism in the ranks of law enforcement matters right now. So I encourage you to make your voices heard alongside us, because believe you me, we continue to push that policy on the sheriff and to hold the sheriff accountable at each of our meetings. So this is a constant effort of accountability that the community plays a role in. We are here as vehicles of that, and we will continue to do our job to help make sure that the Sheriff's Department is accountable and upholds the law and complies with the guidance and best practices that we continue to insist on. And I urge all of you, those that can, because of the inconvenient times of our monthly meetings, I thank all of you who do come, and especially those who come from EastLos third Thursday meetings, and to continue to bear witness so that this work of accountability can bear fruit, that we can feel in our quality of life and our quality of trust in the safety of our communities. Thank you. Any other comments? With that, I guess I would say gracias por asistir, por tu testigo esta noche, and thank you all for being here, and thanks to the member of the commission staff who made this extraordinary evening possible. Thanks again.
Damn, my ass is hurting. It's okay. You check my wallet. Just kidding, just kidding. Just kidding. It's okay, it's okay.
Yeah, and I didn't even share.
What was your son's name?
Adrian.
Adrian what?
White boy. They called him White boy. He was always
Okay.
on a skateboard. Adrian Rios.
And what year was this?
Just 23.
Oh, recently?
May. And this May is barely going to be 2 years.
Okay, all right.
And he died at the station,
wow.
inside the cell. It's public records.
Okay.
They said that in the autopsy report, it says that his genitals were intact. Bullshit, because I dressed him, and my son's private was burgundy, and his testicles. He had scratches. I have the pictures in my phone. And then they, I did graduate,
Okay.
and I was CNA, so I know military time. We use military time.
Of course, yeah.
That was their own report. It was in their own words that they administered Narcan in one's nostril, the right one at such and such time, and then a minute later on the other one.
And he
Why?
was
If he was already deceased.
They're covering their ass.
What? Exactly. I just want to say I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Where are you?
I'm go say what's up to these people over here.
Yes.
What's up, brother?
Thank you, bro.
Can you get a snack? Go get a snack before they're gone. So anyway, this was the Sheriff Civilian Oversight Commission. So they have these every month, or at least they have them. This is not every month, but they do have them out here. They're gonna take a picture. Go jump in the picture. I'm gonna keep up with these meetings. I'm gonna do my best to try to show up to some of the other meetings and bring you guys all this information. Obviously, there's still concern by community. This was about not only was this about the celebration of the Dodgers victory in East LA, but also this guy. But also it was the Fort Apache logo that they have at the sheriff station. The logo has a kick in the pantalones, which is a kick in the pants. And I want to ask a question. What logo, or any logo, has that? A kick in the pantalones is a violent act. It's a violent act. So I want to ask, what logo has those type of words, a phrase? I don't think it's acceptable for a sheriff department to have that type of logo in their, not only in their sheriff station, but a lot of these deputies have them in their, they have pins. We see them. I videotaped these pins. I've seen them in their, they have coffee mugs, they have bottled waters, or their water containers. They have all that. So it's not okay for them to have that logo. It represents violence. It represents violence towards the community. I'm glad the community came out and spoke up. I didn't want to make a comment because I didn't want to, it's not about me. It's about the community, and we want to make sure that we highlight the community, we highlight the community's problems here, their concerns. It's important for the people to be heard, to speak up. And as one of the speakers said, that we don't have a city council, or we don't have a mayor in East LA. We're unincorporated, which means that we are under the supervision of the Board of Supervisors, District 1, which is Hilda Solis. So she's never here. She has an office here in East LA, but we don't ever see her. So it's important for the people to speak up, and I'm gonna bring this more. I'm gonna bring this type of stuff for you guys a lot more, to make sure that the people's voice is heard, and you guys get to see what it is that we go through here in East LA. As I was there at the celebrations in October for the Dodgers winning the World Series, and I was live. You guys can go back on my lives and you can go look at all that I had. And we did have a lot of sheriffs that were there. There was a lot of community that were there. Of course, you're always gonna have the knuckleheads. You're always gonna have individuals who overdrink and come out and act a fool. But for the most part, there was just a bunch of community members that were just there celebrating. A lot of them were not there to cause trouble. They were just cruising, music. They were celebrating. They were waving their flags, their Dodger flags. And yeah, a lot of everything happened once they declared an unlawful assembly. Once they declared an unlawful assembly, that's what gives these officers or deputies the right to enact basically violence, is what it is. So I'm not reading the chat. Let me go ahead and read the chat real quick. I apologize. Who's in here? Let me see real quick. Laser, what up? What up, Carlos? Yeah, man, thank you for being here. Mexican long hair, thank you for being here, Mexican long hair. Oh, it says Carlos. What's up, Carlos? So anyway, just want to give you guys an update, let you guys know what is going on here. I'm going to go ahead and end this live. Thank you guys for being here. Appreciate the feedback, the comments, the likes. We'll see you guys soon. EastLos Aires. I'm out. Peace.